The sporting world continues to progress in the new normal that we live in. Along with it are pivotal events, specifically in the local scene, that were halted due to the current pandemic. And today, we will be discussing about these events, namely the UAAP's 83rd season and the Philippines' much awaited game of the FIBA qualifiers.
We will also be reviewing some of our own team's highlights in the past season, get our takes on the exciting draftees in the upcoming Pba Draft, and we'll be getting to know more about a particular Thomasian athlete. My name is Danielle Chinquangco.
And I am Kobe Diao, and you are tuning in to UST's premier sports show, The Frontrunners. Before anything, I'd just like to take this time to welcome on board our newest host to the show, Danielle Chinquangco. Ching, welcome to the show, and congrats on being our new host.
Thank you so much, but today is not about me, so let's keep the conversations going.
Right. So the upcoming Pba Draft boasts as the one with the most applicants since the league's history. 97 Pba aspirants will all hope for their names to be called come the day of the draft. And among these draftees are experienced ballers with different backgrounds and experiences. But what's exciting about the current pool of players are the UAAP talents that all have proven themselves in the collegiate marks.
Yes, during the past couple of seasons, players were definitely making a name for themselves. Numerous collegiate stars were working on themselves, so they're definitely working hard so that they can have something to carry over to the professional ranks. And you know what? Even before the pandemic halted a lot of sports, the national team had already been training, but a lot of things might have taken a halt. But one thing for sure that didn't stop was the motivation of every athlete to keep going and to work hard despite all of the uncertainty.
Yeah, like you said, the pandemic halted a lot of sporting events for us. It almost denied us of the PBA Cup. So to see that everyone is just returning back to training, and now we have the Pba Draft coming our head. It's an exciting time for Philippine sports, especially for basketball.
Yes, different athletes from different fields have definitely found their way to adapt to these varying conditions. Now, let's talk about the promising athletes, namely Melanza and Munzon. Some of the players who have been promising. Joshua Munzon is actually a member of a 3-on-3 national team that will compete in this Olympic qualifying tournament in Austria this coming May, actually. And on another note, together with Munzon is Jamie Melanzo. Both of them battles for the top pick in this year's Pba Draft. That is actually set next week, March 14th to be exact.
Yeah, Joshua Munzon showed his skill set in the 3x3 challenge. And we know what he can do. We know that he can score. We know that he can also defend us, even though that was just 3x3. We saw that there was some bright spots there for Joshua Munzon. So definitely a top pick. Jamie Malonzo, we know what he did in his 1 year with LaSalle. It gave us a scare oftentimes, especially in the ladder match that we had to do to get to the finals. So there's no doubt in my mind that whoever gets picked number one, the team who picked them won't regret picking them for sure.
Yeah. Players were definitely promising as Munzon actually, when he settled here in the country, he eventually became the Philippines' number one 3-on-3 player last 2020. Meanwhile, Melanzo, despite his really young age, he showed that he can really play hoops and that he can perform in that stage, right?
Yeah, Joshua Munzon, I think he's going to be a great addition to any PBA team, especially for a PBA team who's looking for a dynamic scorer. He can shoot the three, he can pull up for mid-range, and the most important thing there is that he can get to the hoop. So that's an exciting thing for any PBA team.
Yeah. Meanwhile, incoming PBA rookies JD Tongkab and Jordan Herring are some of the players that the SBP will name as part of the Gilas training pool. And along with Tongkab, Oftana had already played for Gilas last year. So I guess this means that this has given him the experience that may come in handy.
More and more young talents for our Gilas squad. I think this is just so great for the Gilas Pilipinas team, especially since we're trying to go young. We're trying to be a little bit more dynamic in our players. So to have Tunga, to have Aftana, to have Heading on the training pool as of now, it's an exciting thing to see what Coach Tab has in store for this Gilas team.
All right, now looking back, but before we move forward, looking back at the previous Gilas draftees, Go, Bulanadi, Nieto Twins, as well as Ray Suerte, were actually the 5 players chosen in the special draft that will be laying down foundation in the 2023 FIBA World Cup. And you know what? These guys are definitely not just people who can play ball. They're also people who are people of character, someone who can build a culture around.
Yep, that is true. Culture is everything, especially with this Gilas team. So with the Nieto Twins there and Coach Tab, there's no doubt they're going to shine a bit of Ateneo shimmer on that Gilas team. There's a lot of things happening right now in the world of basketball, especially here in the Philippines, Ching. We've also had to deal with the cancellation of our hosting for the FIBA Asia Cup in Clark.
Yeah, actually, it was supposedly for the third and final window of the International Basketball Federation Asia Cup qualifiers. It did not push through, however, because of an obvious reason of the COVID-19. Of course, we live in unprecedented times of fear and anxiety. There's a lot of things we have to take into consideration. All these protocols, considering also the foreigners there were new cases of variants of the virus, so that we have to consider everybody's safety. So it was really tough. It was really tough to stage. It was almost completely impossible for them. And following the news regarding cancellations, Kai Soto unexpectedly exited from the NBA G League Ignite.
Right. We knew it was going to be risky for Kai to leave the G League to play for the national team, but obviously playing for Gilas was something that he really wanted to do, something that he had strong opinions about. So we thought he was going to play, but obviously due to unforeseen circumstances, with the cancellation and everything, now he has been left without a team. But this is not the end for Kai. This is still going to be a great time for him, and there's still going to be a lot of opportunities for this young man.
Yeah, but then again, there are a lot of stories that what meets the eye. So probably will be unfolding more as the months come by. So clearly the off season has been extending, and this has actually given one of the teams from the FIBA Olympic qualifying tournament some thought. New Zealand had made a really difficult decision to withdraw from the FIBA qualifying tournament, which is following their withdrawal is giving way for the Philippines coming into play as they were tapped by the FIBA.
Yeah, with New Zealand obviously being very comfortable where they are right now in terms of containing COVID-19. Obviously, they didn't want to compromise by letting athletes in and out of the country and whatnot. So obviously, they had to make a tough decision. But again, this opens up new doors for this Gilas team. And if we're able to capitalize on this opportunity and we're able to make the most of the matchups that are heading our way, then it means the Olympics for us. And this is the closest that we've been to the Olympics in probably more than 5 years now.
Exactly. This is the starting point that they will be having first to face the Dominican Republic Group A and as well as the Serbia. So this must be really challenging for them. Preparations for the Gilas must be really intense. But you know what? Despite the fact that live sports were or are even still on pause, this doesn't mean that we have to stop to keep the conversations going. Indeed, there is a lot of things to uncover later on. But so before we head on our break, let us do a little game called Heat Check. We'll tell you something about a former or even a current UST athlete, and the first one to comment wins a prize from the show. Now, this mystery athlete player is actually from the Faculty of Arts and Letters. She is a former communication arts major, and she used to play as an open hitter for our Golden Tigresses. She also used to play for the Petron Blaze Spikers, where she won 2 titles in 2017, 2018, respectively. And she also has a YouTube channel where she interviews various of athletes. So who could this mystery athlete be? Everybody, please keep the guesses coming because we will be giving a prize from Saan Tayo Kakain.
Yes, if you guys are a big fan of YouTube and you like watching these vlogs, then you've probably stumbled upon our Mystery Athletes vlog once or twice already. But anyways, please do stick around for the show because we will be covering much, much more after this quick break. So stay tuned because the Frontrunners will be back. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Now, the UST Growling Tigers have had an exceptional season in season 82, and there was a ton of exciting plays that we have been able to experience and watch throughout the past season. And for now, we will be breaking down one of the most exciting games that we've had for season 82. Specifically speaking, the exhilarating first round matchup that we had against the NU Bulldogs.
Yes, and what better way to talk about that game than to look at the replay with our very own eyes and reminisce of that victory. Now, let us talk about the best moments of the game as we go down to clutch time.
Oh, Ching, I love this game so much. This was really intense, and we can see here how this will go down. But you know, Renza Bando and the entire squad was just stellar in this matchup.
Exactly. It really is exhilarating, as you mentioned earlier, and it's amazing how the UST Growling Tigers were able to send that game into an overtime with an 87-74 overtime win in that game with the Bulldogs. I guess offense was great, the defense was even better, I guess, but tables have turned for the Bulldogs as the Tigers were able to pave their way, especially in that fourth quarter. There were long bombs here and there, which was able to push the team to seal that win.
Right, and you can see here, defense turning into offense. Renzo gets a steal on one end, hits a three on the other. Hitting threes was so big in this matchup. This is another play inside the Chabio. Out to Renz, corner three, bang, bang. I cannot express how much this game was so exciting because, like everyone said, we should have lost this game, but execution wins games and defense wins games, and the Growling Tigers showed that in this one.
Yes, UST was actually steadfast and unwavering in that game, getting back with that small 10-4 run to be just to get close to
look at Reds.
Just the point, resulting to 63-64. Bulldogs were definitely not ready to let that quarter slip away though, but our players were definitely winning that game.
Right, and like you said before, the team was NU was already celebrating, but we were celebrating on the other end for made three-pointers.
Yeah, meanwhile, the overtime started out with a shootout by Abando as UST gets that three-point lead. Following that would be Chabi making that 5-point gap, and then following that would be another 8-0 run. It really is amazing, exhilarating indeed.
Everything from this point out, it was just smooth sailing. Renz, another three. Oh my goodness. Renz Abando leaving us with some great plays for season 82. Such a great thing to see your team come back from a big lead like that, especially against a team like NU, because I mean, obviously NU didn't have the best record for season 82, but in all of the games they were fighting, and it was close matchups here and then for anyone who went up against NU, because it was a really good team, unless of course they went up against Ateneo.
Yeah, the Growling Tigers has actually revealed a lot of surprises throughout the past seasons. It's amazing how, despite the fact that there were only a few seconds left in that quarter, the Tigers were not really complacent. They were not ready to let their guard down. They even carried that game. They even carried that momentum in overtime, and it's really fun to reminisce that victory of ours. It's nice to keep the conversations alive.
Right, and you know, I was actually in the arena to watch that, and there was already some fans who were leaving because they thought this was going to be already a big win for NU, but execution down the stretch, used the chaos defense, mayhem defense that Coach Ayo had to instill in that team really showed off in that matchup, because defense just kept on turning into offense, and whether it was a fast break layup or whether it was a transition three, you could see that UST did not want to lose that game.
Yeah, exactly. And like you mentioned, people were trying to leave the arena. I think that happens in most of the games by UST, but tables would always turn for us. It will always be in our favor because at the end of the day, I think there were a lot of clutch time. So UST was really sealing the deal. The team has revealed indeed a lot of surprises throughout the season.
Yeah, just never give up.
Mhm.
Whether it's a 20-point lead or a 15-point lead or a one
Mhm.
point game, you knew that our team wasn't going to just go down without a fight. And the opposing team doesn't really always expect that. They don't think that it's gonna be a big comeback, but you let your guard down and you give up a big lead like what NU did. I mean, no shade to the NU team. They were such a good team, amazing talent on that squad. But, like what they said,
Yeah.
execution wins games.
Exactly. Exciting finishes, new players coming into that occasion. The MVP is from the USD as well. And there's really a lot of push from the teams. But at the end of the day, it was really more about how not only how you play the game, but also the character, as I've mentioned earlier. It's really amazing how the team would always come together, would always give it a fight.
Right. So there's plenty of things to watch out for. And speaking of things to watch out for, please don't go anywhere because we still have plenty to talk about right
after this break, including an interview with one of our champions from last season. We'll be keeping the conversations going, so please stay tuned.
Now, before we proceed to our interview, we would like to remind our Thomasian community about something that happened this week last year.
Yes, our UST Golden Tigresses won their first encounter with the FEU Lady Tamaraws in 3 straight sets, 25-20, 25-16, 25-18. That win also served as our Tigresses' first win that season. And you know what? This game was actually a breakthrough win in that UAP season. It was a recovery game, as mentioned.
Yeah, this was the sign for things to come, and I just wish that we were able to see more of it before the cancellation of the season. But yeah, a sweep of the FEU Lady Tamaraws is always a good thing for the Thomasian fans. So it was a great thing to see.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, finally, it is time to welcome our special guest for today's show. He is the former UAAP Men's Judo MVP, and he led our judokas to countless championships, and he is beloved by all Thomasians for his inspiring story. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Dither Tablan. Dither, what's up? Thanks for being on the show, man.
Hi, Dither.
We're having a little bit of problems hearing you, Dither. But
Hello?
There
Hello?
you go. Yeah.
There you go. Hi, yes. Thank you for having me here. It's my honor. I'm honored to be here. And
How are you? How's quarantine been? I know that you've been away with your team for a very long time, but have you been able to meet with them so far?
yeah, quarantine has been, very stressful for most of us, diba? Because sanay tayo nasa labas, and now we're just inside our homes.
Mm-hmm.
With my teammates, we kept in touch. We were chatting and planning if things get, when things get back to normal. We have our own plans. Kami na mga kabatch ko na graduates, yeah.
That's good to hear, man. And again, we appreciate you being here on the show.
No problem.
Like you said, for UST, right?
Yeah, for UST.
So Dither, speaking of UST, what do you think was one of your more memorable moments during your career as a golden judoka? I know you've had countless of tournaments already, countless of achievements and accolades, but which one shines the brightest for you whenever you look back at your time?
Well, if I'm gonna recall the most memorable moments, most memorable moments at UAP, I would say it is the last season because first of all, kasi it was memorable because unang-una ang last playing years ko naglaro kami sa MOA Arena, which is very big. Like in UAAP, yun ang dati pangarap ko lang yun. Though ang naglalaro lang sa MOA Arena is, basketball, volleyball, and to play there, dun ganapin yung tournament ng judo. It was very memorable for me. Plus, exiting my final years as athlete of UST, tapos maging champion pa, nandun na lahat ng emotion, nandun na lahat ng memorable na wala na ako ibang hihingin. It was the perfect exit for me.
Right. There is definitely a lot of lessons to learn because every experience is something that we can have something to learn about. But the next question goes, what lesson have you learned in the UAEP that still applies to your life today?
One of the lessons I learned sa UAEP is yung when you're gonna compete in the UAAP, you have to be prepared. That's why all of our athletes sa UST, lahat kami, 1 year, 1.5 year, we're preparing for UAAP. So as well in life, kailangan lahat ng gagawin mo, lahat ng pupuntahan mo or decisions mo, you have to be ready about what's gonna happen. But in life, natutunan ko din sa UAP, hindi lahat sasang-ayon sa plan mo. So with that, you also have to be flexible enough to adapt with any circumstances. Parang sa game, 'di ba, bilog ang bola, lahat you have to adapt.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't become a multiple champion if you don't adapt to any of the hindrances that come your way. I got goosebumps just by listening to your answers there. But Dither, looking back, obviously, like I said, accolades here and there, left and right, but you've also talked about the hurdles that you were able to move around with and make use of. But looking back, do you have any regrets in your UAAP career? Some things or like missed opportunities that you wish you could have taken advantage of at that time, but if it's not too much to ask.
Well, when it comes to regret, I have no regrets kasi although sa 5 years ko, my first year was hindi, we all know na I only got bronze on my first year, but even that I don't regret that year because that made my career shoot up. So alam mo yun, siguro ang natatanging regrets ko lang is live the Thomasian way of life more. Alam mo yun, more of college life because on sa 5 taon ko sa university, primarily focus lang talaga ako sa training, sa ACAD. So there's walang masyado akong time for other college life stuff. So but I had a splendid time in UST. Wag sana I enjoyed my stay in UST and na-experience ko din naman yung iba. So yeah.
Especially because the Thomasian community, they give a different kind of support. Like we can say that we're the best crowd, right? So
yes, that's true.
Yeah, that's different. But you know what? You're a champion. While winning is a result, winning can also be a character trait for many. So what's your advice on collegiate athletes who aspire to achieve the heights that you had in your UAAP career?
Well, to yung mga nag-aspire na athletes na kakapasok na sa UST, my only advice that I can give them is love your sport, love what you do, kasi loving the things that you do makes you a greater person when it comes to sports. Kasi if na-enjoy mo yung training, alam mo kung para saan yung ginagawa mo, then it will lead you to victory. Unlike kung hindi mo siya gusto, tatamarin ka, aayaw ka. So yeah, tsaka wag na wag susuko. Kahit gaano kahirap ang buhay student athlete, kahit mahirap pagsabayin ng school and ng training, don't give up. Because yun lang yung magiging, yun yung magdadala sa atin sa victory na inaasam natin lahat.
Dither, what will you miss the most about UST? Now, obviously, pwede ka pa naman bumalik, di ba? Everyone, as I think I can speak on behalf of the entire Ipea and Thomasian community na you are always welcome in UST. But as a student athlete, what will you miss the most?
Ang mamimiss ko yung yung Thomasian's community, yung support ng Thomasian community when you're playing. Iba ang support ng Thomasian community when it comes to us athletes. That's why parang ang mamimiss ko yung alam mong nasa likod mo yung buong Thomasian community pag maglalaro ka. Yung feeling na yun. So, I wish I could play more para maranasan ko pa yun, but I think sa mga susunod na UAAP, isa na ako sa mga mag-cheer na sa mga darating na champions ng UST. Yeah.
I can't wait to see you on the sidelines, Dither.
Yeah.
Dither, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. We'll miss seeing you around the gyms and training, and we'll miss seeing you on the court repping UST. But obviously, you will still be there as a avid fan and as a supporter.
Yeah, as a supporter.
Any last words for the Thomasian community?
First of all, of course, thank you for having me here. Thank you for letting me tell you my experiences. And for the Thomasian community, thank you so much for the support you have given to sa aming mga athletes ng UST. Wag sana kayong magsawa na sumuporta at manood ng aming mga games kasi kayo ang pinaghuhugutan namin ng lakas. Knowing that you have our backs gives us a lot of extra power to face our challenges sa UAAP. So yeah, thank you very much and go UST.
Yes, thank you very much, Dither, for being here on the show. And we'll keep in mind that, yes, what you mentioned, iba talaga ang support ng community. So I think this is a reason for everybody, I mean, I speak for most, that we should always support each other in every way we can, in any way we can, always.
That is right. And that is it for today's show. We hope that you enjoyed and had fun with us this afternoon. And please do always continue support our Thomasian athletes and our Thomasian teams. As always, please do give us a follow over at UST Tiger TV on all of our social media platforms to get your daily fix of your informative sports shows. Once again, my name is Kobe Diao.
And my name is Danielle Chinquanco, calling out the final play of the game exclusively here on UST's premier sports show, The Frontrunners. First in line, legacy through time.